put this in your calculator, there's actually a couple of steps here. The easiest way to do this, because this is a complex number, is to divide this into two parts. So right now they have one fraction, but we can take this apart. So this can be negative 5/4 plus, and then here I'm going to add a second fraction, and I'm going to put the negative 7 radical and the 4 up here. So really what I've just done is I've undone the addition of fractions. Now why have I done that? Because complex numbers are always in two parts. They're in the real part, which is this, and then they're in the imaginary part, which is this. Now why is this an imaginary number? Because there's a negative up here, and we can't take the radical of a negative number, because something under the radical we're looking for two things that multiplied by each other will give by itself will give you that number. So like the square root of 9 is 3, because 3 times 3 is 9. The only way to get a negative is one positive and one negative, so you could never then have two matching numbers. So what you do is you take the negative 1 out. And so this becomes square root of 7 times the square root of negative 1. But the square root of negative 1 we redefine as I. And so then the second part is going to be this fraction times I. So as you write it out, you're going to get negative 5/4 plus the square root of 7 over 4I. And that's usually just how we write it. Honestly, I'm okay with something like this as 1, but this is usually the second one's how they write it. And now to get the decimal from this, okay, so I'm going to go to my calculator, which I have here. The reason I divvied this up is it'll be easier to get our decimal from this. So I'm going to first do this part. This is the part we know how to do, right? So negative 5 divided by 4, so negative 1.25. So then my, and then of course you have 2, you have the minus version, but I'm just doing the plus version for simplicity's sake. But you would also do the negative version if you had that as well. Then we're going to compute this. So I'm going to do second square root of 7. So I did second square root here, so that I got the one above it, which is the square root. And then I'm going to divide that by 4, which gives me 0.66. And then we tack on our I. And so then that is our decimal and how they got it. Now as a note, and I don't know about your version, but when I was messing with this to start with, if your mode is in math print, okay, so I come back here and I do this in math print, it's actually going to give me radicals instead of the decimal. And so if you're looking for the decimal, make sure when you go here that you are in classic. Most of the older ones won't do that. So now if I came back here and did second this square root of 8, I'm going to get 2.8 and so on. Most of the older ones don't have that math print, but a lot of the newer ones do. So just to note, if you're getting that and then you're trying to actually get to that, that's how you flip between those as well.